Hello, welcome to another live stream. We're going to talk today about dominant seventh type chord scales and kind of bounce ideas back and forth. So enter into the chat and let me know what your experience is with chord scales as they relate to dominant seventh chord. So we're going to get into that a little bit. I released a couple of shorts on that quite recently, and so we'd continue on with that discussion, and we'll talk about some other things, tunes and stuff that I've been doing on the channel, and some things that I have in the works. So again, thanks for joining me. So I mentioned 4 chord scales that are really essential, and it's not an exhaustive list. And one thing that I really hope this video will do is also to get across the importance of knowing 4 different scale types and having to do with 7-note scales. Okay. Because there are, 6-note scales, 8-note scales, and maybe I'll get into some of that as well. But talking about those 4, so we'll talk a little bit about those 4. So let me know what your familiarity is with all that as we go through. But let's take a tune like All of Me, which incidentally I'm putting together a simple chord melody, and I think I'm going to put together a simple comping lesson on that. I've got that kind of in the works. Let's say we go through the changes here a little and kind of pick apart some of the 7th type chords, dominant 7th type chords. So if we have an E7 here, right, you think in the key of no sharps, no flats, one of the first things that might come to mind here is its relationship to A minor. I mean, the chord is going to go to A7, but try to think about it in this context for just this moment in time here. So we have, we'll say 5 of 6. Right, so if you try to stay within the key of no sharps and no flats, some issues will arise, right? So we'll have, say we just kind of build this up here. So we get kind of, the Phrygian sort of sound, but what's missing from that is the G sharp, right? So we can actually keep all those notes the same and just change the G to a G sharp, and then that's going to help us outline that chord sound. Just double check that everything is going okay here. All right. Not sure if trying to stream on a few different platforms here, and looks like the Facebook one is kind of stuck. But anyhow, show must go on. Right. So then we have, and this is a great name for this, the Phrygian dominant. Right, just by changing that one note. So that points out one of these really important types of collections of notes. I think I talked about it as a kind of parent scale in the talk that I did yesterday. But you have the harmonic minor, right? So you have a mode of the harmonic minor. So that would be A, harmonic minor. And so those these other types of scales that kind of are not in the not bound in those key signatures really help us to solve some musical issues, right? So if you want to have a 5 of the 6, right, you need to make a change to it, and that's where that G sharp can come in. But I think I also mentioned in the video that it's not an exhaustive list, right? So, and you don't have to only, pull from just one. You could. There are other options, right? So, for example, you might play and include a more of an altered scale or something like that. Hello, Daniel. Welcome and good morning. Thanks for visiting. I'll mention before we go on as well that I have a workshop coming up tonight, 8:30 Eastern time, and the link is in the description to this live stream. So check that out. There's limited seating available. It is a paid thing, so but it's I think fairly reasonable price. So check that link down below. It's 1 hour long, and we're going to do some question and answer on this. I may do a little bit of a talk up front, but you want to dig in deeper to some of these topics, please join. All right, so here's another. So we end up, on the A7, okay? So try to think about where that is headed as well. So that's sort of a consideration I would recommend considering is where is this headed to, right? So I'm going to go to D minor. So then you can pull from your secondary dominant type language and visit a closely related key. So again, the harmonic minor will work really nicely here. But you may also sit on that chord for a little bit, and you might think, well, maybe that requires a little too much tension in the sound, right? So then you might say, well, maybe I'll hang on this for a bit and then maybe choose a different choice as things are really getting close to the next chord, right? So want to maybe think about this, or at least this is my my perception and my perspective on it is what do you have in your toolbox, and what do you want to use and when, and so that harmonic minor is really very, very helpful for especially giving you 5 of 1 in minor, right? Because the relative minor in any key center just doesn't have that leading tone back to it, and then the harmonic minor just immediately solves that issue, right? So you can get a nice 5-1 going in minor. All right, so here we end up with the E7 again, right? So we're back on that. We could pull from all kind of the same concepts that we did before, and we end up on minor a little later in the progression. So let's talk a little bit about Another really useful collection of notes, which is the melodic minor. So, when we're considering this harmonic minor and then melodic minor, tunes are not, at least, let's say your typical tune, standard or pop tune or whatever it is, it's not going to be in the key of those types of scales, right? So these are things that can help us work through harmonies as they move, and we can adjust. So, something like the altered scale is really helpful, right? To really get some tension going. I think I said dial up the tension in the video that I released the other day, to really kind of get things moving towards a resolution. So melodic minor can be really helpful as well. Let's say we're on the D9 here later in that tune, All of Me. So, of course, you could play Mixolydian type sounds, but it's really common to use the sharp 11 on the 2 chord like this. So less Lydian dominant, and that's coming out of the melodic minor, right? And so you might ask, why are all these choices made, and how do we know what to do? And I would say you want to transcribe a lot. Transcribe harmonies to your favorite tunes, your favorite recordings or performances, and get a sense for, okay, what does the musician play for chord voicing on this part of the tune, and then kind of you'll kind of develop a library kind of internally of like, oh yeah, folks tend to kind of do this thing on this kind of harmony, right? So that can be really quite helpful. So having that melodic minor kind of in your toolbox there can be really pretty helpful. All right, well, I'm going to do a little noodling here for a moment, and I'm going to mute my microphone. In the meantime, let me know if you have any questions, and feel free to join in and say hello. Let's see if I can find my mute button here. Hello, artist777. And Devin says, what would you recommend with learning new charts? So let me talk a little bit about charts versus lead sheets, just in case there's anything that might be helpful to folks. So when you have a lead sheet, that would be a type of music that gives you a basic idea of the melody of a tune and the harmony, the form. It's really kind of bare bones sort of thing generally, and so when we're talking about lead sheets, that's what we're discussing. When it comes to charts, you're really dealing with more like a specific part. that's usually written out as part of an arrangement. So so I'm guessing that is what you're asking. So if in the past, when I've had to read charts, especially sight reading, I will scan through as quick as I can and look for the hardest part. Um, and I'll look for range things. Do I need to be way up the neck? A certain moment. Is there something that just seems really incredibly significant? Are there hits? And you can even scan and see if possible if there are other musicians. Does it look like everybody's just hitting on this um, one particular moment, or there's open space and you just don't want to be playing when nobody's playing. So that's kind of a thing. So, but if I have some time, I'll try to get as strong as I can on the things that I'm weakest on. So I'll some charts are just easy, but others can be quite difficult. So I'll work on that and form and counting and keeping track of where you are. So see if you can keep track of measure numbers, make notes on charts, especially in rehearsals. But even before that, do you have any questions about it? Let's say you get a chart ahead of time and write down your questions in case you need to clarify something. So yeah. What style do I play? So yeah, I mean, I play a variety of styles. So anything from jazz. I tend to kind of specialize in that area. Devin, yeah, you're welcome. So I tend to, and I think the main thing there is just my interest is in improvisation in general. And then there's just so much, in jazz, and I really like the language of it and the sound of it and the heroes in that genre. So, I tend to gravitate in that direction, but I've played a lot of different styles, as far as like playing in bands and performing. I generally will play what I need to play, what I'm asked to play. So, okay, what do you think is better, pointy picks or round picks? Great question. I've thought about that a lot over the years, and I've enjoyed kind of discovering that um, preference. And I would say it kind of depends on what I'm playing. I kind of like the sound of the round pick in general. So sometimes, like kind of Matheny does this. I'll use the rounded edge of the more sloping edge of a standard pick. But I find I'm doing that less and less these days. So I'm tending to use a pointy-ish pick, but I have one that's even pointier than this. That's the kind of like the typical jazz pick. So I think kind of depends on what I'm doing. So, I've found that when I'm really pushing the limits of my picking technique, I find that having a sharp point is kind of helpful, because maybe it's just less resistance. But I do like the sound of the round for maybe more ballad or medium kind of thing. Geraldo, I know the familiar with the recording, but yeah, I can't play that tune on the spot here. But maybe I'll learn it. I haven't had any folks coming in trying to learn that tune. But yeah, it's a good tune. Artist 77 requests I'm playing. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for writing in, Geraldo, and House is back up. All right. Well, yeah, maybe I'll do a little playing. I did say I was going to do that a little bit ago. So I have a little bit of a thing going on all of me, and I'm gonna put out some videos. I think hopefully put out a video maybe on Friday. We'll see if all goes well. So we've got a request for Satin Doll. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a whole ton of requests, but yeah, maybe I'll do a little improv on that. Incidentally, Satin Doll is it's a really great tune to learn some of the basic things about standards and closely related keys and 2/5s and all that. So yeah, I would highly recommend working on that whole tune. Oh, I should mention, let's see, we've got, if you do find value from this, which I certainly hope you do, please like and subscribe, do all the kind of usual things. If you want to dig deeper into this, definitely join the workshop. So I'm gonna be running some regular workshops here. I've got one set up for 8:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So join me there if you can. And what else was I gonna say? I've got some mugs and stuff. I changed the design on this. I need to order a new one so I can check this out. But the new one says Guitar and Improvisation Podcast. So okay, welcome, Brother John. So yeah, Election Day was yesterday here in the United States. See, I'm not going to get political at all on this platform. So, but thanks for writing in. Artist 77 says, "Thank you, very cool." All right. Yeah. So far in this talk, we've discussed a little bit of the harmonic minor and the melodic minor. Those will really take you very far. You really want to have a very solid foundation on the major scale and the relative minor. You know, just the key signatures. You know, get out the circle of fifths. Get into each one of the key areas. Understand the similar relative nature of all of these chords and everything. That's the baseline for everything. So I would really focus in on that. But harmonic minor is going to take you very far, especially into the relative minor of each of those keys, but also secondary dominance, especially for minor. And then the melodic minor is really great. When I think about certain moments, if I have a 4 chord that's minor, like in All of Me, or just say a B flat 7 and it's the flat 7, that Lydian dominant is really kind of works well, and then of course the melodic minor, which ends up being kind of the same collection of notes, and that's the thing that you want to maybe try to work towards in your playing, which is to understand sort of the plurality, if you will, of things. So house is back up. Curious about your take on world music. Not familiar with those exact recordings, but I'm pretty open-minded about music. I like all kinds of music if it's performed well and is coming from a genuine place. I'm pretty into it generally. So it could be simple or complicated. I'm kind of I'm interested in good musicianship and writing that is stimulating, interesting, catchy, maybe. I'm particularly interested in odd time signatures. So in that respect, world music really does appeal to me a lot. I mean, you would think of the Western tradition. There's a lot of harmonic development that has happened over many hundreds of years. But when you listen to some of the melody and maybe rhythm or meter, I should say, too, is maybe somewhat less. I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you're listening to, I guess, but less emphasized or less, given that 4/4 time and 3/4 time. But I'm interested in some. I've heard some interesting Turkish music. I've listened to some interesting Indian music. The melody there and the microtonal things that happen. That's pretty interesting to me, and the rhythmic things as well. So I'm pretty open-minded generally. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for joining here. I've been keeping an eye on the chat. I'm going to wrap up here for today, but please remember to hit all the usual like and subscribe type things, the engagement, comment if you're watching this after. and you're interested to know anything on this topic, let me know. And happy to hear from you, and write a quick response. So once again, check out the link below, the description below, and join the workshop tonight at 8:30. So thanks so much for joining. Bonacera 3 says they listen to classical Indian music. Cool. And some ideas suggest improv. I'll check those out. Thanks for that. All right, everybody. I appreciate you listening and chatting, and I hope you have a great practice session if you do play some music today. And I will see you all in the next one.